Hey, this is Fred Ottman, Tugboat Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D, Big Steel Man. And the card is subject to change. Watch it.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan, for the fan. We're so happy that you're here. So happy that you found us. Episode 230. Welcome back to the show. Of course, here at the Card Subject to Change podcast, we are on the For Frequency's Sake podcasting network, and we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Greetings and salutations to one and all. Hello. I am never wrong, Nick Bull. Joining me is my tag team partner. We are co-champs of said For Frequency's Sake tag network. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm feeling good. It's been a wild weekend full of some fun wrestling and some freezing temperatures. So part of that was really good, but the other part, kind of waiting for it to warm up again.
Well, I mean, it's if you don't like the weather in the Midwest, just wait for a day or two because. You know, here in the Midwest, it's 4 degrees air temp this afternoon, and in 2 days, it's going to be pushing 50. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy here next few days, and it sounds like it's going to be nice for us around Christmas time. Christmas Day is like projected to be around 50 degrees. So
I am not going to complain.
Yeah, I don't need a white Christmas. I like a nice Christmas where I can go outside and be able to do stuff. But regardless, yeah, busy day, busy weekend of wrestling. Of course, we got dumped on about 7 inches of snow. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and I didn't know how the trip would be. We were going to go up to Zawa 150 last night. Zawa was celebrating their 150th show in Nelson, Illinois.
We'll get to that in a few minutes. I've got some pictures that we'll put up when we talk about it.
Yes.
Before we really get into everything we're talking about today, next week is our last show of the year. We're taking a week off at the end of the year, but doing our annual Cardi Awards, the fan-voted awards based on our monthly picks. We've narrowed it down to 5 people or events from each category, and we want you, the fans, to go vote. So if you're watching us here on YouTube or watching us live on Facebook, bottom of the screen, there's a QR code. I'll keep that up. That is how you can get to our voting page to pick your favorites and help us choose who gets the awards for the year when we do our Cardi Awards next week.
Yeah, I got a little out of order there. I wasn't going to go into full detail. I was going to bounce it back to you, but that's all right. Yes, actually vote. I have not voted yet. Probably vote after the show. But yeah, we got categories up for different, we got nominees up for different categories. Excuse me. And we want you to vote. This is the podcast by the fan, for the fan. So we definitely want to have a voting or awards where the fans have an influence. Let their voice be heard. You can see how their vote fare here in the next week when we announce the results. And hey, I love not knowing. I don't know who the results are before we go on.
I don't either.
I don't. It's whatever pops up. I swear. I don't know. I have no power over the results.
And I'll give a shout out and a thank you to our tribal chief, All Ego DJ Jarvis, who has put together the voting page and is tabulating the results for us and putting together the graphics so we can reveal the results next Sunday. Voting goes until this Thursday, the 18th. So vote early, vote often.
Oh, there you go. Are you a Chicago area voter?
Maybe.
Next week, that'll be the Cardies. Next week, that'll be our last show of the year, as CZ said there a few moments ago. So if you want to catch us any more this year, next week is the time right here. The episode 231, and it'll be the 2025 Cardies. So looking forward to it. Can't wait to see how the votes turn out, and we'd like to have your participation on the matter. That's next week. Voting closes Thursday, so get out there. Click on this QR code. We're going to leave it up the whole show, right?
Yes.
Let's leave it up the whole show. So
until I go to a graphic, which it'll go away then for a brief period of time. But
exactly, we're going to leave this up. But yeah, you have been to a Zawa show before. We've had several wrestlers from Zawa on, and of course, we've had Zeke Zishi on, who is, who runs Zawa, kind of the head of things there. We've had him on in the past, and I always wanted to get up to a show. Stuff happens, life gets in the way or whatever. You can't make it. They had their 150th show in Nelson, Illinois last night at Parties on Pope. Pretty cool little venue, nice little bar inside with a pizza restaurant.
Yes.
Right there, which is convenient. That has like a gym attached. So it's a pretty cool room if you haven't been up there and thinking about going. I think our next show is going to be up there in Nelson, the next Zawa show or whatever. But
and it's
cool.
a 30-man battle royal advertised for the next show. Right.
You're like, Nelson, Illinois, where's that? It's like 8 minutes from Rock Falls. It's like 8 minutes northeast of Rock Falls, if you're not familiar with the small town. But yeah, it's not too far off the beaten path, pretty easy to get to. And yeah, we obviously it was a big show for Zawa last night, but obviously a big show for us as fans because WWE Hall of Famer, and I think one of the most identifiable wrestlers in wrestling history. You say his name, you automatically know who he. I didn't have to finish his name. It's, of course, I'm talking about Jake the Snake Roberts. Dude, look at that! There we go. We Striker rode up in the card subject to change jet with CZ and I. We got there and no line. I think all the rush went through before we got there. And there is the man right there, Jake the Snake Roberts. Had a chance. I asked him, I said, man, you were awfully evil in your days. And I go, hey, this Tuesday in Texas, I said, I don't think you got any more evil, or no one can get more evil than what you did. You went after Savage's arm after it had been bitten by the cobra, and it was bloody, and it was great. I mean, so he got a chuckle out of it. He said, yeah, that's probably the most evil I was, but he's got the oxygen tank on here. He did come out later in the show.
And I've got a couple pictures that we'll get to of that in a minute. Just to kind of tell you, I meant to show you these before we went on the air, Nick. What I did a couple side-by-sides from stuff that you took and stuff that I took.
Sure.
We'll see that when we get there. But here's a full look at the venue in Nelson. A little pyro going on in the back. So that is their setup. You can see Zeke Zishi in the little alcove over on the left, getting ready for showtime there. Like Nick said, Jake came out. Jake did a little bit of a talk to everybody who came out to enjoy the show. Had a lot of good words to say. Of course, I love hearing Jake's story because of the help that he's had from Diamond Dallas Page, and I'm a big fan of Page. I've been doing DDPY if you've been following Wrestling with Fitness. So, but no, he had a lot of good things to say, and I'll say this: he did mention that he is going for his third hip surgery in the coming days or weeks here. So we're sending our thoughts out and hope the surgery goes successfully.
Yeah, he said his third hip replacement of the same hip, and I believe it's about a month out. So I was extremely I was excited for this, and it was also one of mine, kind of like scratching off the list of guys you absolutely wanted to meet and see or whatever. And he was my dad's favorite wrestler. The whole we talk about it all the time on this show of when the Snake attacks Savage, and just how that's one of the most polarizing moments in history. And the fact that this guy had, pretty tough life, not only with the wrestling, but with the alcohol and drug abuse, and was able to right his ship, and then came out and shared a message to us about, hey, it's great to have a friend. He mentioned DDP as being his friend and turning his life around. You never know how much impact you have on somebody, and be there for him. So Jake was great. And, dude, he's 6'6". I'm 6'4", standing up. And, he's noticeably taller than just about everybody in the room. Looks good. Looks really good. Like, I thought he looked nice and slender. And, like stated, was on the oxygen for the meet and greet part. But for this part, did not have the oxygen on. Came out and spoke for quite a while. I thought had a great time. Had a great time last night with you and Stryker. The show was a great time, and seeing Jake was just the icing on the cake.
And there was a hell of a main event. I put some pictures together from the main event. It was a submissions count anywhere match between former guests on the show, both Hunter Holdcraft and Christian Rose. Nick, I took one of your pictures and one of mine and put them side by side on a couple of these. So we got up close and personal in the action. They came over to right where we were.
Those are our seats.
Yes.
Actually, I think it's Stryker's seat, because the referee on the photo on the right is like standing by a coat on a chair. That is your chair, CZ.
That's my
your coat. So yeah, we had to get out of the way. It was all over the place. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give them credit. A submissions count anywhere was very well done.
Yes.
There wasn't really a lot of low points of the match. And when it was away from the ring, what they did had a purpose. There wasn't anything, that was really awesome. The take a seat Boston Crab. Awesome added. That was cool. That was a cool spot. And these two obviously know each other and obviously have worked with each other before, have that good chemistry. And dude, I don't know how much more muscle Max Hunter Holdcraft can put on, dude. He is ripped.
And of course, Christian Rose put him through the ringer quite a bit, as you saw in the last picture, as you see here. But he did come out ahead and retain the Zawa championship. There's him taking a chair and getting out of that sit down Boston Crab with a chair to the face of Christian Rose.
Yep, getting out of it. I believe it finished in the ring, and was it an STFU that finished it?
I know there was a chain involved. I believe you are correct, but an
STFU with the chain. But yeah, really good. If you're down to watch the show and have IWTV, it should be up on there. I haven't went on and looked to see if it was, with all the stuff that getting back late last night from the show.
I don't think it's there yet. I think it takes a couple days for them to get it posted, but it will be there in the next few days, and we'll be sure to share it out when it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a lot of fun. And if you want to check stuff out, they did post some pictures from the venue, but it was packed. They definitely sold that place out, standing room only, and good crowd and a good card for their 150th show. So congratulations to Zawa. Wanted to say that, but man, really having a wrestling hangover today, because during our time at Zawa 150 last evening was Saturday night's main event, and John Cena's final match. The last time is now, and we did our best to avoid spoilers while we were at the show. I think I found out about one match from somebody because I asked them through a text, but avoided my social media the rest of the night, and was able to, after I had gotten home, sit down and watch Saturday night's main event. And we won't go into depth on it here too deep, because we've got a lot to get to yet. But I want to say that was probably, a couple weeks ago, we got the best Raw on Netflix in probably ever. I thought it was better than the debut a few weeks ago. And then we just last night got the best Saturday night's main event of the year, without a doubt, from top to bottom. Excellent card. Of course, it featured young talent. I think that was a request of John Cena's, And, you got Obafemi in the ring with Cody Rhodes, and then, a possible tease of a thing with Oba and Drew McIntyre. I mean, sign me up. That might be a Mania match. We just got to see the seeds sown for it. Sol Ruca with a great outing against Bayley. Real good match between them two. An electric tag team match between Leon Slater and Javon Evans against the Incredible Dragon, or the Phenomenal Dragons of AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. And, of course, the main event with Gunther and John Cena. Yep. I had to do that for all the haters, man. I'm telling you what, Gunther had to get a escort to his bus last night because the fans were, threatening and all this stuff. Dude, bravo. He did an amazing job in that match, and so did John Cena. I might have my new John Cena favorite match. I know we talked about John Cena and Alex and AJ Styles with our friend Joe Winkle, Joe the Show, over from Educated Ignorance. We talked about that on WrestleBacks this past week. And if you have a chance, go check that out. We had a lot of fun with it. But that match last night was great. I'm a huge Gunther fan, and I'll say this. Gunther does, that win last night solidifies him as a WWE Hall of Famer. That win last night will be bigger than any title reign he will ever have.
Yes.
And for the next 30-some-odd years, he's going to be introduced and known as the guy who retired Cena. So, career-making night for Gunther, and he's got so much left in the tank, obviously, if WWE has got him in this position to tap out the greatest of all time in his last match. So, very exciting to see that. I thought that was really cool. I can't wait to go back and watch it again here probably after we get done recording. Just an overall really cool event. And if you haven't got a chance to see it, please go back and see it. If I'm telling you the spoilers nearly 24 hours after it happened, that's on you.
Yeah.
Not on me. Probably should have said something earlier, but I didn't. But yeah, give me your quick thoughts here on Saturday night's main event. What stuck out to you? And give me, what your thoughts on the main event. I know a lot of people were upset with the matchup going in, but I don't think people can really complain about that match.
I don't know. I saw a lot of people shitting on it after the fact, but overall, the show, I watched it today. I was able to avoid spoilers until I got to it this afternoon. I take that back. I watched the first match last night and then the rest of it today. Everybody from NXT had a really fantastic showing. Sol Ruca getting the win over Bayley, just fantastic. She is a rising star. She's going to be huge coming up. And, of course, the two young boys, Leon Slater and Javon Evans in that tag match, that was just excellent. I know I saw a lot of hate online for the way the Cena-Gunther match ended, and I don't see it. I think it was I wouldn't have written it any other way.
I was surprised he tapped. I thought maybe he would do the Austin WrestleMania 13 move and pass out, and the ref would call it. But yeah, the fans are upset, and I kind of was irked with them chanting bullshit right after John Cena lost. He's sitting in the ring, and he's kind of got to look around and listen to that. And it's like, I don't know what people were expecting. It's, it felt at times, Flair Michaels, did you think Flair was going to win? We wanted him to, right? And a large amount probably wanted Cena to win last night, but it was just not going to happen. I mean, you say what you will. I don't care if he's the greatest of all time or not. It's kind of like time-honored thing. It's kind of like the known thing. Like, you are putting somebody over on the way out. And what he did for Gunther last night is similar to what Kurt Angle did for him back when this kind of got all rolling back for him in the early 2000s. So just got to take a look around, enjoy it, man. Last night was a fun show. The presentation was great. I even enjoyed the little sidebar thing with Joe Tessitore and Stephanie McMahon. I thought it was a good thing.
The segment with The Miz was a lot of fun.
That was cool, man. That was funny. And having R-Truth be a part of it. R-Truth had to be a part of it. He's Ron Cena.
Yeah.
So.
And John Cena is his childhood hero, so of course he had to be a part of it.
He absolutely is. So that was cool that he got his way onto that, and it's probably through John Cena. And what I would say, what I like to say is this: is what did you think of the after the match stuff? Gunther gets in the ring, celebrates, gets out of there. And then, the send-off party. Did you like that? Did you have a problem with it? What were your thoughts on it?
I didn't have any issues with it. I know I'm a sappy guy, so I got a little emotional before the match and a little bit after the match. I thought the package that they put together for him at the end was very well done.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It was.
And he didn't need to say anything. A lot of people were, they kind of did Goldberg dirty, Bill Goldberg dirty by cutting him off when he had his last match earlier in the year. I knew they weren't going to do it for Cena, but I go ahead.
That was network TV.
That's fair.
That was network. That was network TV. And
gotta keep up with time constraints there.
You know this as much as I do. Like, you got a hard out. And if you wanted something else different, you should have advertised it. Hey, it's going to be over here. But I know what you're saying, but I just want to throw that out there. Like, that was network TV. And because of that, there's no more. This was on Peacock, and that's what I felt bad about. Was like, this was on Peacock and not, on NBC. Like, this would have got a huge rating, I think, if it was on national television with, people knowing who John Cena is. Everybody, whether you know about wrestling or know what wrestling is, I would say a large amount of people, 80%, 85% of the American population have heard the name or know who John Cena is.
He's like a modern era Hulk Hogan. Hogan back in the day, everybody knew who he was, whether you were a wrestling fan or not. But no, I really thought the end of the show was well put together. That package was fantastic. And like I said, John didn't need to say anything. The fact that the ring was surrounded by everybody on the roster, with the exception of Gunther, I know he kind of bowed out, which he should have. He did the right thing there. But like you said, John did the right thing 9 times out of 10. If you're retiring, you're looking up at the lights in your last match. You're putting somebody else over. And that I knew John was going to do that. I think most people knew John was going to do that. So I don't know why there's anger out there for him losing the way he did. Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on his little smile before he tapped?
I was just going to say the same thing. He's a meme now. That's a meme. I've seen so many memes about it. Like when you're smiling, but you're dead inside, and it's his face. Like, it's going to be a meme. And I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I don't know. Think of another movie. Think of a movie where a hero is staring down the face of death or adversity or defeat. Do they boo-hoo? No. They stay strong, smile or smirk, and I think that's what that was. Like, he knew this is it. What a ride. Here I am. And probably just, I did not have a problem with it. There was a part in the match when John was in the corner and trying to get Gunther up on the AA for the Avalanche AA. And they kind of had a moment where they were talking to each other, making sure, and like Gunther kind of had a smile on his face. Like, that was cool. I think moments like that I'll remember about this match. But my takeaway from this is the exact quote is, pro wrestling defeated sports entertainment.
Yes.
I thought that was cool. That was like a great call by Cole. And like, Gunther has taken it and ran with it today on his social media, using the greater than symbol than sports entertainment. But wow, what a freaking night of wrestling. And I didn't even mention, before we left yesterday for Zawa, I wanted to talk about my incredible day. I'll probably post something later on the socials about it. But my youngest son, Heath, had his first wrestling meet of the season. and I was able to, be an official scorer for the meet. So I was involved with that on Saturday. But watching my kid wrestle for the first time since last year was awesome. Great day to start the wrestle day. Went 3-1 on the day, so props to him. And then Jake, and then Zawa show and Saturday night main event. I've got a wrestling hangover. I feel great. Like it's going to take me a couple days to recover because a lot to process. We had a good time in such a short amount of time.
I asked it yesterday in the car. I'll ask it for the fans to hear. How many crossroads did the young bull hit yesterday?
None. He is he's kind of I gotta figure out what his style is. I don't want to give him a name or a wrestler. I'll wait a couple meets and I'll come back with that. But he's aggressive. What we'll call it clueless aggression instead of ruthless aggression. The angst of a teenage boy. No, great time, man. And no, we wanted to talk about that stuff because we had such a great time yesterday. And now we get to the tough part of the show, which is the ugly sweater holiday party, our yearly gift, as we say, our yearly white elephant gift to you, the fan. And no, we don't review something great. We review something absolutely craptastically awful. And I think we did that this time.
Yes. And being the podcast,
this show should wash the December to Dismember taste away from you in your mind, and you have completely forgotten it now going into this.
If I never watch either of these shows, December to Dismember or this one again, it'll be too soon.
Okay. If you had to watch one more time, which one is it?
I got to go with December to Dismember.
Oh no, not me. I'm watching Heroes of Wrestling, dude. I pick up something different every time with it.
It's a toss-up because they're both just wow. And of course, us being the podcast by the fans for the fans, we want to present the fans with something fun that we can watch as we commiserate and laugh together on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Put that QR code back up there. Don't forget to go vote for your favorite picks of the year. So we will reveal them next week at the Cardies. But yeah, Heroes of Wrestling, 1999, October 10th, I believe, 1999. I'm going to start off by saying that you look at this card, and I didn't read anything about it. I just went into it cold.
Like you were instructed. So good for you, dude. Good for you. You followed directions, and I did that for a reason.
And then after I'm going into tonight, I watched. There was somebody who put together a pretty good retrospect on the event, so I watched that instead of rewatching the event. So that was kind of cool, getting a little more insight. But no, I looking at who was on this card, this show had the potential to be fantastic 10 years before it aired, 10 years before it was on. With one exception, and we'll get to that. There was one match that probably stole the show on a shit sandwich of a show. But no, I'll let you kind of walk us through the beginning of this, since this was your pick, Nick.
No, absolutely. I'm going to pull up the card here just because I don't remember the exact order of matches, despite the fact of watching this thing several times throughout the years. Just to let you guys know, no expert by any means on this, but you want to go into more depth on this, there is a subculture of Reddits and different wrestling pages with thoughts on this show. And there is also a few good YouTube videos out there on people breaking down this show for you. But it's as CZ stated, this takes place in October of 99. You got to think October of 99. Wrestling is huge. Wrestling is hot. WWE, Nitro, and the Monday Night Wars going on. And despite that, great, characters being made. So wrestling is very much at the forefront. You know, this concept was brought in to, I think, you know, obviously they wanted to have more shows after this, but after such the low buy rate of less than 40,000 buys, they just canned it after this. And then everything that happened on the show was, you know, was a reason why it didn't continue as well. We're going to do a little exercise throughout this. I just got a little piece of paper here and a pencil, and we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of this show. Because I'm telling you, there are some pros to this show.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay, so we're going to do that little exercise, you know, a plus or a minus, whatever, when we think of something here. But I guess, where do you want to start with? You want to start with the show, start with a little backstory. Of course, the number one takeaway from this show is the commentary.
That's where I was going to suggest we start.
Okay, and I will say that is a negative, is the commentary. Okay?
I will agree with that, but I will put a marker in the positive side for Dutch Mantell. He did as good of a job as he could, given what he was given.
There's more to the story. So commentary is a negative. The poor dude that is the play-by-play dude, that is Randy Rosenblum. He was a last-minute replacement for who was originally supposed to do the show, and that was Gordon Solie. Hall of Fame Gordon Solie, voice of wrestling for a lot of another older generation than us growing up. Solie came down with what he would later die from 9 months later, and, you know, it was complications of throat cancer. So he obviously couldn't do the job. Dutch Mantell was not the original color commentator. The original color commentator was Ted DiBiase.
Yes, I remember hearing that.
So Solie and DiBiase, okay, Solie and DiBiase would have been a much better team because they both knew the sport.
Right.
This Randy Rosenblum, you know, a young sports guy, and did not know names of moves. His names for common moves were something else. And on top of that, you know, was a try-hard, but Dutch Mantell is the plus, I think. You're right. He's a plus but it's a negative. Dutch Mantell, a wrestling guy, a wrestler, knew what was going on. Where Dutch fell short, he accepted it last second and didn't ask anybody who he was working with or didn't ask who was on the card. He wanted to be surprised with who came out the curtain. So everything is off the top of the cap with him in regards to that show and doing commentary for the show. I got a list here.
Further, let me ask you. I had on the documentary of the rundown that I watched this afternoon. They said that the backstage interviewer probably would have done a better job at commentary than Mr. Rosenberg. Who was that backstage interviewer? Do you remember his name?
Hold on a second here. I'll get his name because they got a list of other on-air talent. Backstage interviewer is Michael St. John.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I couldn't think of his name, so thank you.
Yep. No, not a problem. A list of names that were approached and either said no or were on the card before something got canceled. It's a pretty interesting list of names. Sid Vicious was the first one approached. And then he went after Michael Lombardi, a promoter in the Northeast. They did not appear because Sid was signed by WCW in June of that year. Vader, Terry Funk, Bam Bam Bigelow, Honky Tonk Man were all approached, but declined. Additionally, Nick Bockwinkel was advertised but did not appear. And, of course, due to WWF-owned trademarks, former WWF wrestlers that were known so well under that name couldn't be Luke and Butch, the Bushwhackers, or Yokozuna. They had to be the former Bushwhackers and the former Yokozuna. So, yeah, it was it's ambitious, okay? Because you start this and the production's not bad for 99. We got some over the head shots of the casino, the site of the battles. We've got graphics. They give us a heads up. Actually, the first thing you see is a memorial, in memoriam to Gorilla Monsoon.
Yes.
The graphics of the matches. So at the start of this, they're trying. They're really trying. They've had some crap happen before the show that out of their control, and now they've got a Band-Aid on a bathtub leak. And you're going to see how far this Band-Aid gets stretched before it goes off the wheels. But an announced crowd of just over 2,000. I think it's 2,300 that were in attendance. I love the venue. The casino magic. And, Bay, St. Louis, Mississippi, which is also Biloxi, Mississippi, a hotbed for big wrestling events. So, October 10th, 1999, we are the heroes of wrestling. And from the start of the show, they are driving home a point. They're trying to get that brand across. A popular drinking game, if you drank, would be take a drink every time Heroes of Wrestling is said. You would probably be half shit-faced by the end of it because it is said over and over again. They are trying to establish a brand. The first match of the night, one of your favorites, CZ, we have the Samoan SWAT team of Samu and the Samoan Savage with Paul Adams and Sika. Now, Sika's Roman Reigns' dad, correct?
Yes.
So we got some star power here. Sika's WWF Hall of Famer, okay?
And I'll note that the Samoan Savage was being billed as Fatu, which, I'll point out Fatu, Rikishi Fatu is not the same Fatu from WWE. This was the Tonga Kid in his WWE days.
Okay, hold on here. That was
the Samoan Savage.
The Samoan Savage. There was something else about the Samoan Savage I think you would find very interesting. You're saying that's Fatu.
Yes, but not the Fatu of WWE. His name is Sam Fatu. Samuel Fatu. I believe he is related to Rikishi. I think they're. Let me look.
One of these guys.
Rikishi's brother. That's what I thought.
That's the Samoa Savage?
Yes.
Yeah, that is Sam Fatu is also the father of Jacob Fatu.
There you go.
I wanted to get my right branches of the
bloodline.
The bloodline tree on there. So first match is the Samoan SWAT team, Samu and the Samoan Savage with Paul Adams and Sika taking on Marty Jannetty. 1999 Marty Jannetty. He still looked pretty good. Could still move around pretty good. And Fantastic Tommy Rogers, who was one half of the tag team, the Fantastics, with Bobby Fulton. So, two guys who've never worked together before, two guys who have.
And everybody who has tag team experience.
You're thinking this is going to be something special. If you're walking into this not knowing that this is 1999 and who these names are, I think you're expecting to see something like you did on television. And as much as I wish I was a part of this show and in the audience, I would have just reveled in this. I think some people were probably going there not familiar with the product, not familiar with who was who, and we're just going there and having a good time. And I think you see those people a lot in the crowd.
I'll raise a point there now that you mentioned the crowd. if you're a drinker, another drinking game you could partake in during the show is how many times they go to a crowd shot.
There's a lot of times that need to have a crowd shot.
But there are times that don't, and they miss things.
That is true. So it kind of shows it's a penny rate production. Okay, so we're going to put a negative for production. Camera work.
Camera work, yes.
Camera work, okay. Camera work. I would say a complaint I have a negative is just the overall shape of some of the combatants.
Yes.
It was bad. It was staggering at times. Like, we'll talk about him here in a little bit, but it's a wonder some of these guys were still able to move. You just kind of forget with time going on. This is 99. This is 26 years ago that this took place. So some of these guys are no longer with us, and it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot that this guy did this show and this happened type of deal. But the match goes 10 minutes, probably 4 minutes too long. It's an opener. It's a back and forth. You got the heels winning, which didn't surprise me. What stuck out to you, from the lead in to the get-go of the show to the end of this match?
This match is really one that wasn't very memorable for me. I like the fact that they displayed before people came out the graphic of who they were. I don't know. It was kind of silly to me since they're tagging together that they didn't have a picture of Marty and Tommy Rogers together, and they came out individually. I mean, I understand why, but if they're tagging, you would think that they would have taken some kind of promo pic with the two of them together. That's just me. Right.
You would think. I mean, I guess they probably showed up. Hey, this is our match. This is what we're doing. I mean, I would have loved to have been backstage checking out what was going on. I'm going to have you talk about this next match. Greg the Hammer Valentine Greg the Hammer Valentine takes on George the Animal Steel with sensuous Sherry.
Sensuous Sherry.
Sensuous Sherry, my bad.
Oh my.
Sensuous Sherry.
Can I before we break down this match, can I just ask you? I got to throw this out there. Did any of the refs give a shit that there were rules to matches in wrestling?
Obviously there was no regard for rules, and stipulations weren't announced. So that's a negative. Rules, stipulations.
Big negative.
Big negative.
Both of these guys are a little most of this card is a little past their prime, but there were very few wrestling moves in this match. Valentine ended up with some kind of foreign object. Looked like a tape-wrapped cudgel, if I had to guess.
Looked like a shiv in prison.
Started attacking George Steele with it. Did we need to see the Hammer's ass with that thing shoved up his trunks?
Well, I got a negative here as how small Valentine's trunks were. We didn't need that. He probably could have went with a bigger size, especially in that part of his career. He needed different trunks. Valentine's trunks were awful. I didn't need to see that much of Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Probably could have switched to tights at that point.
Probably could have. He absolutely could have. There wasn't a lot of mat chain wrestling here. Obviously, George the Animal Steel is gonna play to the crowd like he did. The crowd was in a frenzy for him. I will give him that. The crowd was very interested in this match.
Can I put a positive of George the Animal Steel finally getting his shirt off? And the reason I say that is because his hairiness is iconic for him.
Okay.
I don't enjoy watching big hairy behemoths, but with George the Animal Steel, that's just one of his appeals, one of his charms, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
You know, I put him down as a plus. I'll put down Sensuous Sherry's involvement as a plus on this show.
Okay.
Sherry Martel's top notch. And man, she was out there in a boat with no oars and was able to steer this into a somewhat passable match. You knew you weren't going to get a great one because of who was involved in their age. But Sensuous Sherry is definitely a plus on this show.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, she is anywhere you put her, she is top notch. Obviously a WWE Hall of Famer. She does a fantastic job in that managerial valet role whenever she's put into it. And she was probably the best part about this match.
Any other notes, commentary, production-wise you've got through the first two matches?
Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head. Obviously, George got to eat the turnbuckle pad like he does, so the fans ate that up. I'm trying to remember. I don't really remember a lot on commentary for the first two matches.
No, it's bad. It's a play-by-play guy not knowing anything and Dutch Mantel trying to save the show. Heroes of Wrestling this, Heroes of Wrestling that. What comes up might be the best match on the show, unexpectedly. Of course, Valentine wins 6:37. Probably the perfect length for that match. Didn't need to go any longer.
Right.
We got Too Cold Scorpio. Well-respected name, known name. Still in pretty good shape at this time. Taking on Julio Fantastico.
Who?
And I'm looking him up. And yeah, they needed to bring somebody in that was younger because they knew they had all these matches that were going to be slow and whatnot. It's not a bad match. Probably the best one on the show.
I agree.
Due to the fact that people know in the audience who Too Cold Scorpio is, and he's kind of going out there and kind of doing a greatest hits match, doing his different spots, moves for the people. It said a match was planned initially between Too Cold Scorpio and Reckless Youth. The wrestler known as Reckless Youth.
I'm not familiar with them either.
I'm not either. Looking on here, he's 51 years old now, trained by Al Snow, East Coast guy.
Okay.
That got squashed, and in order to break up the slower matches with the fast-paced action, they brought in Fantastico, had a similar type of match. So that's who he is. I know. I don't really know who he is. I don't. And
from what I understand, he's had some enhancement work with WW at the time WWF. He was in WCW for a cup of coffee, but I don't think he was used much, if at all.
I'm getting him as a negative here because I think you need to be known to be a hero of wrestling.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Negative.
Add to that negative for Mr. Fantastico that wicked bump he took on the concrete.
Oh yeah. That's not good.
Straight back body drop, hit back first, hard in the crowd.
And a positive being Too Cold Scorpio's involvement.
Yes. But I'll ask you, was it really Too Cold Scorpio, or was it somebody named Dragon?
I don't know.
because obviously Randy thought that he halfway through the match changed his name to Dragon for out of nowhere, and of course Dutch didn't correct him at all.
Oh, that I know. It was a garbage. It was bad, and we knew it was going to be bad. And it's our gift to you. We hope you like it. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays here from those at the Card Subject to Change podcast. Yeah, at 9:37, it was probably, we got another okay match on the card, and then the rest of the card is just damn near impassable.
Yes.
As we trudge our way through this punch bowl of liquid poo. The next match has been reviewed by Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez as possibly the worst match ever. You have you got this one, buddy. You're gonna help with this one because we got the men from Down Under, which are the former Bushwhackers, taking on the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. I was uneasy this whole match because the Iron Sheik looks like he has a hernia rupture and is going to explode at any second. His belly, the size of his belly is in proportion to the rest of his body, like a very muscular man, but like it looks like it's a hernia or a rupture. It looks gross. And I couldn't take my eyes off it the whole time he was in the match.
I chalk that into the negative for sure. I know we've talked about this at least once on the show, but Nick, how excited would you be to get licked by one of the Bushwhackers? I'm sorry, the men from Down Under?
Not at all. Bushwhackers, yes, but not the men from Down Under or the former.
I mean, the kid that I remember getting licked just looked scared out of his mind.
Well, wouldn't you be too? Wouldn't you be too? This match, it's the worst match on the card, unless we're talking about the main event. But nothing happened in this match.
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing happened in this match. I will go back to the thing that stands out is on commentary again, where somehow the Iron Sheik became the Iron Curtain.
Well, maybe was he referencing a setup move, or he was calling him the Iron Curtain?
He was calling him the Iron Curtain. I mean, if he were referencing some kind of move for the Sheik, I would be okay with that call.
So but you're putting that down as a negative.
Big negative.
The Iron Curtain. Okay, fair enough.
Those I can't think of what they're called. Those weights that the Sheik did over his shoulders. Did they had to
like
weigh
the Arabian? They're called the Iranian. Google it.
See if it's.
I know you're talking about I know what you. Yeah, those things are heavy. Apparently, like only a few guys could do them.
Yeah, but I think those only weighed 2 pounds. I thought they were super light for the Sheik to be able to do that.
Did you find that?
I'm looking. It's not on the wiki page.
I'm finding it right now.
And let's.
The Iranian clubs.
Okay, yeah. I don't think.
Or Persian clubs.
Persian clubs?
Yep, they weighed 75 pounds each.
Yeah, but did these? You can't tell me they weighed 75. These particular ones weighed 75 pounds. There's no way.
This is Heroes of Wrestling. You got to suspend disbelief, man.
I can only go so far. I can only go so far.
2 pound Persian clubs. Okay.
Oh boy. I mean, what was the best part about this match? Was it Nikolai Volkov?
The end.
Yeah, the end.
It was because I can make an argument after this match got over that the next segment and match are the most interesting because they did try to do a little backstage promo beforehand. This is how thrown together this show was. It looks like, and I'm talking about the next matches between Four Horsemen Tully Blanchard against former Midnight Expresser Sweet Stan Lane, and promo backstage. Tully Blanchard showing up for the event. Before he can really say anything, you've got Sweet Stan Lane jumping him and throwing Tully in the trunk of the car.
Let's just throw it out there. I think that promo that Tully cut deserves 2 pluses.
2 pluses. I'm going to put the Lane Blanchard segment. Yep.
It was way better than this show deserved to have. 2 big pluses for the segment and the promo that Tully cut.
That's what I was going to say. This is, to me, it probably doesn't get, we talk about Apex Mountain on our show with Joe Wrestlebacks, and this is probably the Apex Mountain of this show, is these 2 respected guys, respected workers, doing this little promo. Stan comes out and does an amazing ring announcement of himself. Blanchard, it was actually probably the second best match behind Scorpio and Fantastico, just because it was a more high pace and a lot more going. But Stan Lane and Blanchard, probably like, what are we doing? They probably got together before the show, before their match, like, oh my God. I know it's a paycheck, but what the hell are we doing here? What are we doing here?
And of course, Sweet Stan Lane is the original Gangster of Love. We can't look past that.
He is. But I mean, I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed that segment. I enjoyed the Tully promo. The Tully promo was really good. And then, the match, it doesn't kind of live up to the hype leading up to it, but it was still better than damn near the rest of this card. Right. So with that being said, like, that when I first saw this card and before I ever knew what was going on with this show, like, that was the match I was looking forward to the most. So it wasn't too bad. And I thought it delivered. But it's probably the last time on this card that anything delivers.
Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt.
I got to see where we're at here on the card. This is the Card Subject to Change podcast. We are the podcast by the fan, for the fan. Merry Christmas, happy holidays as we celebrate our ugly Christmas or ugly sweater party, our white elephant gift to you. We are powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, of course, coming into you loud and clear and in living color on the For Frequently Fake Podcasting Network. All right. Back to the show. Welcome back to the show. We're back to the show. Of course, here talking heroes of wrestling. Take a drink every time it's said. Go back and do it. I couldn't even count. After Tully Blanchard defeats Stan Lane at the 7:04 mark, we kind of go to the bridge, to the point of no return with this show. We've got 3 more matches. Our next one, Abdullah the Butcher with Honest John Cheatham. Love that name. Versus
that is going to be my manager name, but I'm going to be Honest John Cheatham Jr. And I work for the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
I think you should take it one step further.
Okay.
And be El Hijo del Cheatham. Right?
Yeah, okay. El Hijo del Cheatham.
Okay, so Honest John Cheatham is a plus, and El Hijo del Cheatham is a plus.
And of course, he's facing off against.
Of course, I'll give you this option. You want to be El Hijo del Cheatham, or would you like to be El Hijo del Cheatham Jr.?
Junior. I think it's got to be Junior.
Like Dr. Wagner, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. So
Yes.
you're El Hijo del Cheatham Jr.
Yes, I think that's the best.
There you go. There you go. You got a new gimmick and you didn't even know it. Merry Christmas.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, just like this show.
I will say this. Abdullah the Butcher could still move here. One-man gang kind of impressed me with his movement. He was still kind of good size, still could be moved. You see him now, he just is just an older, skinnier dude. But he was okay in this match. It gets really bloody. I thought this got really bloody real quick, considering we really didn't see any blood on the rest of the show. But I guess it is Abdullah the Butcher. You got to expect it.
Big negative for him.
There's that one shot of one-man gang where he's got a pretty good crimson mask, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't quite ready for that yet.
Big negative for this match is hepatitis C.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in Biloxi, Mississippi at the Magic. What was it called?
No, not Biloxi. We're in
Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
What's the place called? The Magic what?
The Casino Magic.
The Casino Magic. Hey, you know what a great piece of wrestling memorabilia would be?
What's that?
The Casino Magic little tripod stand on the ring apron with the phone number.
On the apron, yes.
Oh man, that'd be something to get your hands on.
I would proudly display it on the wall behind me.
I think I'd carry that thing with me everywhere.
What, just firemen carry it with over your shoulders?
Yeah, just take it with me everywhere. All right, there's nothing there really to break down about that match. This next one, we have a former murderer, unknown at that time, maybe known but not widely known. It was Jimmy Snuka with Captain Lou Albano, and Captain Lou Albano has been seen kind of a couple times throughout the night. He's the figurehead commissioner, I think, and helped on
the third match.
What's that?
Which was announced during the third match that he is the commissioner.
And was on the commentary a few times to help the ever-struggling Randy Rosenblum, and God bless him for stepping into that role and that shit sandwich he had to eat. But this next match, before we get to the crescendo ending, Jimmy Snuka defeated Bob Orton Jr. This one went 11:46. I'll give them a little bit of credit. They tried to establish something earlier in the show with a backstage altercation with these two. Not near as good as Blanchard and Lane's, in my opinion.
Right.
But they were trying to generate interest, little backstage thing. So I'll give them a plus on that. That's it.
I will give a plus to Captain Lou putting himself over throughout the entire night.
Oh, Captain Lou just going into business for himself?
Pretty much, yeah. That's what he was doing. He was just putting himself over the entire night.
And I'm going to put down the pre-match angle, Orton Snuka. We're getting a lot more pluses off this than I thought.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what's wrong with us.
What's wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding. This match, honestly, I didn't care too much for this match, to be honest. I really didn't sit and watch it move for move. It just couldn't keep my interest. It couldn't keep my interest because the big present underneath the Christmas tree was still there waiting to be opened, and I just couldn't get my mind off what was yet to come in this main event.
Did you know that Bob Orton Jr. is a second-generation wrestler?
Really?
They said that at least 3 times on commentary.
You know what else they said on commentary?
What's that?
Heroes of wrestling. At least 1 million times. Now we're going to get here. I'm going to set the stage, and then I want CZ to give his unadulterated take on it, because this was his first time knowing about what happened, or seeing what happened and then knowing about what happened afterwards is a big deal. Initially, it was going to be a one-on-one match between Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Jake the Snake Roberts. Actions, which CZ will break down and talk about here and give his thoughts in a second, happen, and this turns into a tag match between Jim the Anvil Neidhart and King Kong Bundy versus Jake the Snake Roberts and Yokozuna. I'm trying to think of a pretty good segue here. I think it's kind of ironic. It kind of goes full circle with me that last night we got to meet Jake the Snake when he's probably at his best. But what we're going to break down next is probably what most people remember Jake the Snake Roberts at being part of his worst.
Right.
And
100%.
I'm not condoning or laughing at his condition here, but the fact that this stuff happened on a show needs to be talked about because it's crazy. It's crazy, and if you didn't know about it, you need to know about it because like it went down. It's like documented wrestling history. And earlier in the night, Jake the Snake Roberts is backstage cutting a promo with Michael St. Clair.
Should I have my camera like this for this segment?
Yeah, look down there at that snake, and he points down. Hey, cameraman, get that back up. Get that back up. Yeah. Jake was noticeably intoxicated and not of this galaxy that night.
Yeah, he is in the stratosphere somewhere.
And I don't know if he hid from people on the show the whole night until his match. They had to know when he went through the curtain. And yeah, what are you thinking? Okay, what are you thinking after that promo? Because there's some good lines in that promo.
There are, but I'm at a complete loss for words because my initial thinking is, oh my God, Jake is off his gourd. He is like you said, in another galaxy. Oh man. DDT.
I mean, Jake was Jay Uso before Jay Uso. He comes out, puts the snake in the ring, and then goes back up the ramp. Jim Neidhart's in the ring, doing his, trying to, keep the attention on him because at that point, I didn't know if Jake was coming back out. He goes back through the curtain, and I would love to know the conversation that was behind that curtain at that time because he comes back out without his shirt on and kind of, quirkily walks down the aisle, goes over to a woman who's a fan and grabs her hands and has her hands rub him up and down. And it's uneasy, man. It's uneasy. We haven't got to the good part yet.
This whole thing is uneasy, and I'll kind of go talk about what I learned allegedly happened. So in the documentary or whatever that I watched before coming onto this show, the guy who was breaking things down said that Jim Neidhart didn't want to lose the match. He didn't want a job to Jake because he was expecting a call from Vince to come back to WWE. That never actually happened. But Neidhart, I guess, was being a little bit of a bitch, not wanting to take the fall, wanting a guarantee that he'd be at the next event that, as we know now, never happened. My understanding is the reason Jake went back to the back was to let them know, okay, I'll take the fall.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I had read a couple things where nobody wanted to lose. Boy, hey, what's new? What's new, right? Nobody wanted to lose. Here we have ego getting in the way of, past primes. Neidhart thinking he's coming back to WWE, which this is even post Owen, correct? Owen would have passed away
earlier this year.
in
Earlier
99. In
Yeah.
99, right? So
Summer.
I don't even know.
Spring, early summer.
Davey Boy probably on his way out. So yeah, I understand Neidhart's thing, but at the same time, you know, it sounds like, you know, some guy's got the strong arm of the promoter and got in his ear, and I'm not losing. I'm not losing because it was contractually like Yokozuna and Neidhart were both contractually there that they couldn't lose. That's part of the reason why they got there. And so it's very tricky. Like, hey, you want to be a promoter, you want to run a show, then you're putting up with different wrestlers and different things.
And different egos.
Jake, we're to the point where Jake gets rubbed by the female fan, gets in the ring, one-on-one match between Jim and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And
Jake instantly wants to hit the DDT on him, and Neidhart ducks out of the ring immediately.
Right. So at that point, I'm kind of like, oh no. You know, what can happen? What can happen next? Or what's going to happen that can make this worse? And it gets worse. What's the next thing?
Oh boy. Well, the camera is going over to the bag with Damien quite a bit. And even though you see Jake kind of seal the bag, that bag is open and that snake's head is popping out.
It is. And it's during the match and people are ringside freaking out, as would I if I was in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and there's a goddamn python a few feet from me. Yeah, I'd be going a little nuts too.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
But not Jake.
Not Jake. Jake's in the moment. Jake is on another planet. And it's at this time. Did you get the snake out?
I don't. I think it's pretty close to this time. We might as well just.
Have we got the other guy's involvement in the match yet?
Not yet. The snake came out before that.
Yeah. I'm putting down as a negative. Jake taking the snake out.
I'll put another negative for the snake popping its head out without anybody really there monitoring it.
Snake popping head out. Negative. I'm also going to put down a negative as Jake simulating sex with said snake.
Oh, God.
Is that safe?
I would say so, or that and making out with the snake.
We'll put Jake. We're going to put simulating sex. Masturbation. What do you want to say here?
That works.
That might be the first time we've ever said masturbation on the card subject to change.
I don't think there's ever been a reason to say
no, there hasn't been. But we're 230 episodes in and we just said it.
Mark your calendars, folks.
Jake hijacks the show with this snake and is doing some weird things in the ring. He's got the snake between his legs. His hips are gyrating at the crowd. The crowd is reacting. And
he lays down and puts the snake on his chest.
And is kissing the snake, right?
He licks the damn snake.
It's gross. That's gross.
I'm surprised that snake didn't bite his tongue off.
Well, I'm also putting down Jake licking snake as a negative.
You know, is there anything, I know that the myth is if you lick a toad, you get warts. Is there anything for licking a snake that you would get afflicted with?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think you start sweating snake oil.
Okay.
And then you turn into a snake oil salesman. I don't know how you want to wrap up the rest of this match. I don't know how are you going to put a bow on this steaming pile of poo.
I don't know if there's a bow big enough for this one. Bundy comes down first.
Yep.
And him and Neidhart are talking outside the ring. You can tell they are both pissed.
Yep.
Yoko comes out after that, and then it magically turns into a tag match. That poor, I don't remember his name, the documentary or whatever that I watched talked about the Bundy Jr. is what they called him on commentary. The bald gentleman who came out.
Oh, that is his name is
Michael something.
Michael Henry.
Okay, yes.
Michael Henry.
Poor Michael Henry is just caught in the middle of all this, and he is he is who they send down to kind of soothe things over, because the other thing, nobody wanted to lose. Nobody wanted the snake thrown on him either.
Correct.
So that was why Michael was sent down to kind of ease tensions and take the shot of the snake being on top of him, which, from my understanding, he was a good friend of Yokozuna's. They were really good friends, and so that the Samoan drop that Yoko hit him with was perfectly safe.
Yep.
And then Jake throws the snake on him, and the show kind of ends abruptly with the commentators still talking.
I caught that as well, and I don't know. The funny thing is, who pins Jake? Is it Neidhart?
No, it's
Bundy. Bundy's not even the legal man.
Neither is Jake.
I know. That's even the best part about it. Like, this show has gone completely off the rails. It has been a bad joke. It just keeps getting worse. It's crossed that line between decency and reality. And we have the illegal man getting pinned by the other illegal non-tagged in member. It's the perfect ending to the show.
And the fastest 3 count ever.
Probably the most anticipated 3 count ever, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, the next time we do this, you can pick it. I don't know if it can get any worse.
I'll see what I can find.
I'm looking at my Post-its here, and there's a lot more negatives than positives.
Okay.
But you always got to find the diamond in the rough when it comes to stuff like this. And although it's a horrible show, I still enjoyed it, and I hope everyone out there enjoyed CZ and I talking about it. I cannot recommend it enough. I think everybody's got to sit through this at least once as a rite of passage as a wrestling fan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think by any means it's not something that you should steer away from completely. Go out and at least watch it once.
Well, it's the bad joke that if you watch and you hear people talking about it, you know exactly what it is. So you want to get in on the bad joke. This is the show to watch.
So what is the best part of this show? Was it Too Cold Scorpio and Julio Fantastico, or was it Tully Blanchard's promo?
Backstage promo where Blanchard was attacked. They show the video, then Blanchard's on camera cutting the promo. Yes, that's the best part of this show by far.
And I would say the Scorpio match is a close second.
Correct. If you're looking for best thing on the show, it's the promo. The best match on the show is probably the Too Cold Scorpio match, followed by the Stan Lane and Tully Blanchard match. And then, of course, the Abomination at the end. And the silver lining here is this. Jake thankfully got help. Jake turned his life around. And, hey, we were able to see Jake last night, shake his hand, and that's what's great. And I'll end my part of the show with this. It's the holiday season, and everybody is going through something. Be mindful of that. And if you are struggling with something, do not be afraid to reach out to somebody. Ask for help. There's nothing wrong with it. It's an emotional time of the year for a lot of people. And, of course, that involves family. And not everybody gets along with their family, but make sure that you get along with those that you care with this holiday season. And if you are struggling, do not do not hesitate to reach out to someone who can help you.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better. We're going to pause for just a second here while we preview next week's show. Sorry, I couldn't help but play the music with that before I brought the graphic up. We are moving on to happier, better things next week. We have the fan-voted Cardi Awards. This would be our third annual, correct, Nick?
It will be our third annual Cardi Awards, of course, highlighting the year that was wrestling in separate categories. I can't remember them all off my head. Match of the year, male athlete of the year, female superstar, all different sorts of categories. Voting is up. CZ's going to throw that back up here, this QR code that we've had on this whole show. If you haven't had a chance to scan it, voting is up until this coming Thursday,
which is December 18th.
Yep,
and December if you're listening to this after the fact on audio platforms, we have this pinned to our Facebook page. Hop on to Facebook. If you don't have Facebook and you haven't voted, send me a message. I'm on Instagram at the Wizard CZ. I'm on X at the Wizard CZ, though I don't use it that much. But no, we encourage you to go vote. We love hearing from our fans, and we love the fan interaction. So that's why we let you decide the winners for our 4 categories: the male, female, tag team of the year, and the match of the year.
Looking forward to the results. Vote early, vote often, as CZ said earlier. And we'll be back a week from now to review those results and, of course, usher in a new era here at Card Subject to Change.
Very much so. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But no, I'm looking forward. So tune in next Sunday for the Cardi Awards. That's going to wrap things up for this episode of Card Subject to Change. For my tag team partner, Mr. Never Wrong Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. We are part of the For Frequency's Sake podcast network, and we will see you next week right here on Card Subject to Change.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake podcast network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.